Hi guys, my name's Cody at Slatt Capital. Wanted to connect with a couple of my clients and get a sense of their expertise, what they're seeing in the market out there. And today I've got a real dear friend of mine. This is Ryan Bennett. He specializes in primarily triple net lease properties, although he does do a number of other properties as well, all across the country. And we've worked together for a number of years. So it's a pleasure to have you. Thanks for joining me and agreeing to do this, brother.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're noticing right now in today's market through the COVID era, et cetera, is a lot of folks are actually pretty darn active, surprisingly active in the space. And I think a lot of folks, for whatever reason, maybe you can get into that, the triple net space, whether it's single tenant industrial or single tenant retail, seems to be a super hot market. So a question I've noticed, and you guys have a ton of listings in this space, and obviously you're kind of working on both sides of the transaction depending on the situation. But the question I have for you is, how does a buyer today, whether it's a buyer or a broker representing a buyer, how do they really differentiate themselves when they're putting an offer in? How do they make sure that their deal is going to be the one that's accepted?
Yeah, good question. I think all things being equal in terms of price and of course cash versus needing to obtain financing, obviously very highly competitive out there. But I think if I'm an investor or I'm a broker representing that investor on the buy side, I think what I would recommend doing is just being as organized and being as transparent as you possibly can in a negotiation. That means if you're in an exchange, have those dates ready. Let them know how much equity you have coming out, how much debt you have to replace. Let them know exactly kind of what you're looking for. Just even a proof of funds. When you come in organized, come in hot, and the listing broker wants to see that and go, damn, these guys have their stuff together. They make a big impression on me. I think that I feel pretty good about these guys because what? It's all about surety of close, and that's the perception that you have to come off with to a listing broker. That's really the name of the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Surety of close is the name of the game. We have to make fees. We're not going to do it if we don't close. So on that line, my next question for you is, I noticed a number of folks that are active in the triple net space. That may be their first time representing a client in a single tenant triple net retail or an industrial property or what have you. It might be primarily focused on multifamily or office or some other asset class. So have you noticed over the years, is there maybe one tip that some of these guys could know about the triple net space that they should know if they're tiptoeing into it and kind of help them be a little bit more successful?
Yeah, in your terms from an investor standpoint, yeah, absolutely. I think first and foremost, they should know going into how competitive the space is. That's important. It's an education process to a lot of investors that are first getting into it. They don't understand that. Sometimes they'll lose 1 or 2, 3 deals before they start to understand kind of how to play the game and just how competitive the space really is. The other thing would be also to have, net lease brokers sometimes get a bad rap that it's a commodity sale, and that I can do this. If I have another specialization, I can get through this, no problem. But you know what? The net lease guys, we know the leases in and out of all the tenants, especially on the retail side. We know what's coming, what to expect, the nuances, what to look for. And, that way there's no surprises down the road. And we're not kicking ourselves like, hey, how come we didn't know about X or Y? These are things we already know up front. So.
Yeah, so you touched on it a little bit there. So my next sort of point I want to dig into a little bit here is, the triple net space is a unique space, right? I think one of the misnomers people think is that it's simple, it's a one tenant property, that sort of thing. But you guys, you and your partner, Ryan Barr, have chosen to specialize in the triple net space. It's what you've done for years and years and years. So give me a sense of why that specialization is helpful to the transaction, or what's important that sort of helps to get these deals done.
Yeah, and I think, like I said before, I think a lot of it is just knowing how to navigate in and out of these leases. And and what to expect. Like I said, every tenant's different. I don't know, Riley lease is different from a Walgreens lease, or a FedEx distribution center is going to be different from, say, a Starbucks or something like that. They're all a little bit different, and we're able to navigate through that and very quickly. And at the same time, we kind of know we're in a lot of markets, right? So we know how to navigate from 30,000 feet up into a market and how to get through and do our due diligence pretty quickly from afar, really. And then not only that, we have resources in place, to do that very quickly and to be successful at that. Because when some guys will just work in one market, which is great. That's traditionally the way to do it. And you're an expert in that market. But for us, we've got to do that quickly in a number of markets. So you got to have a lot of resources around you.
Yeah, and as you said, you're active pretty much across the country, and I would say that the learning curve in the triple net space is fairly steep. As you said, you oftentimes have to put in 3 and 4 and 5 offers before one will take and one will make sense, or you're learning how you want to invest as you go. So just to sort of wrap it up here, how can folks get in touch with you guys if they have a need, or if they're wondering more about the space, or they need to dig in a little bit more? What's the best way to contact you guys?
Yeah, good question. Thanks. Best way is to go to our website. It's www.nnninvestmentgroup.com, and that's where our listings are, and we have some good resources on that website. In fact, we're launching a brand new website that will replace that one in the next couple of weeks, so we're excited about that.
Nice. Well, stay tuned, everybody, for that new website. And brother, I really appreciate the time. It's been awesome to kind of compare notes with you. And until the next time, I'm sure we'll be in touch. Reach out to Ryan Bennett, if you guys have any questions. Thanks to my friend, Mr. Bennett here, for joining me. And until next time, that's a wrap.